Well, good day, everybody. This is Chris of the Ancient Scholar. I hope this video finds you all doing well. It's bright and early in the morning. Just opened up the office and thought I'd do a quick video before we start kicking things off here. I'm actually going to be down in the labs for most of the day. This is my big lab day, but that aside, let's stay on task. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk a little bit about my first impressions, or my primary impressions, of the brand new iPhone 17 base model. So I did in fact trade in my old phone and got, it was about 300, maybe just a little over 300 trade-in. So $300 off of $799. Right, or $800 essentially. So we're looking at about $500 with the trade-in, and I want to give my initial impressions of this. I've only been using this for about 3-4 days now. It did come in last Thursday, but I took the weekend and went out to northern Arizona to the only downhill mountain bike park there, Sunrise, and just went ham on my all mountain bike, so much that I was actually having pretty significant muscle spasms in my quadriceps on Monday, and I was having a hard time even walking, going up and down stairs. It was in so much discomfort, and in the back of my mind there was this little thought like, man, I wonder if I'm going to develop rhabdomyolysis as a result of the muscle damage. That's just, particularly on Saturday, I just went ham, and really, I'm actually quite lucky that I survived the experience and I wasn't severely injured. I really ended up pushing myself beyond my comfort level and beyond my limits, and did a bunch of black diamond and even a couple of double black diamond trails, pro lines, sticks and stones, and pile, Loma Zoma. There was another, was black or double black. Anyway, I really pushed my limits, went beyond my limits, and I'm actually quite lucky to have survived that experience relatively unscathed. Particularly as I'm approaching 50, and so if I do take a tumble, the repercussions are potentially a lot more substantial than, say, if I was 20. So that is something I have to keep in mind. But there's just something so utterly enjoyable about throwing myself off a mountain. It is so fun. And despite the injuries that I've had, it's just so worth it. But anyway, all that is to say that I felt like that I knew I was going with some people that were pretty rowdy, and I just knew that I'd be pushing limits, and I did not want to take a brand new phone with me and destroy it in the event I crashed. So I did not set this phone up until Sunday night, after I got home. And so I've only been using this, what is it now, Thursday? I've only been using this about three coming up on 4 days. So this really is initial impressions. And so my initial impressions of the iPhone 17 are actually pretty good. I have to say I'm pretty impressed. This is the first iPhone to impress me since the iPhone 13 mini, which I thought was kind of the apotheosis of design. I wish, boy, oh boy, I wish we could have something like this with the size factor of the 13 mini. Battery life be damned. So we don't. We've got the Air, the iPhone Air, which is just not something I'm too interested in. It's just too big. I actually prefer something smaller. This is even probably one of my critiques of this, is that it is a little too big, but it's the smallest iPhone offering, at least contemporary. But let me sing its praise a little bit, because again, this is a pretty impressive phone for Apple to be offering. It now comes with the newly updated LTPO 1 to 120 hertz refresh rate display. It has a new anti-reflective coating. It's not nearly as good as the competitors like Samsung, but the iPhone's never had that before. It comes with this new center stage front camera, which is just a substantial update, particularly from the camera that I had on my older phone, which was 8 or 12 megapixel camera. So the center stage camera is a substantial improvement to what this does, and it will not surprise me that if other companies end up copying that conceptually and putting it in their future phone offerings. It's such a dare I say, game changer, right? So you've got the high refresh rate screen, you've got anti-reflective coating, you've got a brand new high quality front-facing camera, you've got some updated, at least on the front, the glass on the front is the Gorilla Glass, or no, it's the Ceramic Shield 2, which is made by Corning, and it's purported to be much more scratch resistant. I don't know, I rock screen protectors, but certainly seems to be an update. New colors here, you can see I'm rocking the sage color, and I've got this nice little bumper case, and it's just nice and naked on the back for now. It does have an updated ultra wide camera, which is now a 48 megapixel ultra wide, and then the 48 megapixel wide angle, which I believe is the same one that's been on the iPhone for the last couple of years. It does have the action button and the camera control button here, which, I'm being honest, the camera control button doesn't really do much for me. It's nice. I use it more or less like I use the power button on my Android phone, where you double tap it and it goes into your camera. So I have this set up just like that, where I double tap it, it goes into my camera, and then honestly, I just find it's easier to use my fingers to swipe through settings rather than try to use the camera control. But it's nice just to have that there as a quick camera option. And then honestly, the action button I just have set for silent mode, like my old phone that has the silent. But I mean, there are several different things that you can set your action button to do. The battery life is purported to be substantially better than prior iPhone 17s. Again, it's still fairly early times. I think the phone is still trying to figure out my pattern of life. So the battery life is more or less on par with my old phone at this point. But again, you know, the first couple of days that you have any phone are the worst days of that phone's existence, and you can't really base your overall battery life on the first few days. And so once things settle down, we'll kind of see how it goes. Always on display, obviously, that's compliments of the LTPO display. And there are a few other little odds and ends as well, but those are kind of the major things that I've talked about. And so you've got a lot of pro level features crammed into the base level phone. This is probably the most pro base level iPhone that has been offered possibly ever. This is certainly, as far as Apple is concerned, this is certainly the best value phone as well. And I would say this is the phone that if you're looking at upgrading or getting an iPhone, a new iPhone or newer iPhone, I would highly recommend this. This is probably the phone for most people. Yeah, it really, even if you compare this to its predecessor, the iPhone 16 or even the iPhone 15, I think the upgrades on the 17 base are so substantial that I would recommend just paying extra money, extra $100, and going with this. You get that high refresh rate screen, always on display, 256 gigabytes of memory of base storage versus 128. You get the center stage camera. You get the updated ultra wide camera. You get a new battery. And you get a lot of upgrades that I think are going to make this phone much more appealing than its predecessors. So yeah, highly recommended. Some of the weaknesses I found, I think the camera system, I find there's some weaknesses here. It overall does really good. It takes pretty natural photos. It excels in a lot of conditions. Its big weakness, however, and this was the same on my old iPhone, is that it does not do telephoto very well. And I know they call this a fusion camera, where you get two power magnification optical quote unquote quality. If somebody says that, they're just either BSing you, or they don't exactly know what they're talking about. Does not do that. Okay, it has a 48 megapixel sensor, and then it punches in, right? And it punches in and it pixel bends, and it does some image processing through their, what is it, the photonic engine or whatever they're using, their image processing pipeline. And they take the 48 megapixel photo, and they essentially punch in to 12 megapixels, and they make a zoomed in photo that's a 12 megapixel quality instead of 48. So they kind of sacrifice the quality to give you a 12 megapixel photograph that is in some sense an analog to having an optical zoom. But it's not literally optically zooming, right? It is processing, right? It is a processed image, and so it's not true optical quality zoom. And it's decent, but anything beyond that 2 power zoom, I find is often just unusable, and the quality of the telephoto on this phone and other iPhones without a dedicated zoom lens is pretty lacking, particularly when I compare it to my Pixel 10. The 5 power telephoto lens on the Pixel 10 is such a substantial game changer as far as the camera offerings that you get on a base phone. Although the other 2 lenses on the Pixel 10 leave a little bit to be desired compared to the iPhone 17. So your regular photos are the quality of your regular photos, where you don't need a lot of zoom, overall I think are better, substantially better on the iPhone 17 in some cases. And because of the higher quality ultra wide, you now get pretty good macro shots on the iPhone 17, which is not something that the base iPhones have done well historically. So I would say regular photos are going to rival or do better than the Pixel 10 versus the iPhone 17, but the telephoto capabilities of the Pixel 10 are substantially better than the iPhone. I've been able to take some amazing 5 power panoramic photos. I'm actually really impressed with what the Pixel 10 is able to do with that, and the iPhone can't. But in many other ways, the iPhone is a better phone. It has a lot more base storage. The processor is a lot more robust, although, you know, for what I do, I don't notice really any difference in how things work between the iPhone and the Pixel, although I've had some, I think, some optimization issues with the Pixel 10 where it's just chunky and juddery, and I've had to update it, and it has gotten better, and perhaps I'll do an extended review video on the Pixel 10 since I've had it for, well, going on almost a month. But sticking with the iPhone 17, I have to say that this is a great phone. Actually, it's a really good phone. I think if you can afford it, and you know you're locked into the Apple ecosystem, and you're wanting an iPhone, and you don't need a lot of the higher end video and photography features that you can get with the 17 Pro and Pro Max. This is the phone to get. Really, you know, if you can do without a lot of zoom, or you know you don't need some of the high-end video features, you know, you're just a regular guy like me or gal, then the iPhone 17 is going to be a much better phone for you. It's going to be a lot cheaper, and it'll be just fine. So yeah, that's been my experience. I have to say that the switch was really seamless with this. So my old phone, transitioning from the old phone to this was really quick, really easy, really seamless. Unfortunately, with my wife, not so much. So maybe that's a little hit or miss as far as changing phones over. I do have to say that when I went from my Pixel 9 to my Pixel 10, that was a bit of a nightmare. So I had about as hard a time going from Pixel 9 to 10 as my wife did going from her older iPhone to the new iPhone. So you know, it's hit or miss there, but overall I have to say I'm really happy with this, and great quality, and it's the most pro base iPhone that Apple has really ever offered. So far I would recommend it. All right, everyone, thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video.